Hey friends, welcome back to Global Car Design. My name is John MK. And today's lesson, we are going to be learning how we can do a fast 2D sketching and Solidwork, how we can use the tool available in the part interface. So guys, if it's the first time to come to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing, liking my videos and commenting below. And also don't forget to strike that notification bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. So without much ado, let's get started. The first thing you have to open a new file, which is a new part file, by clicking this option here, new or Control N, a shortcut. You are given three options here. We are going to be using this part option. Double click on it. And so it takes us to an interface where you can access all tools which you are going to be using anytime you want to do 2D sketching. So on this interface, there are several things which are provided to us, but we are going to be focusing on these sketching tools available here on our command bar under the command category. That just come down here and there's this option provided here. You just have to click on it and it gives you different dimensioning system. For us, we like using mmgs, which is millimeter grams in second, but you can also set mks, cgs, or even IPS. So if you want to customize your dimensioning system, you can just come here, edit documents units, and to take you to this section or this portion of Solidwork. Here you can customize your dimension and just click on custom and customize your option here. You see they are provided many dimensioning units. But today we are going to be learning and we are going to be using mmgs, which is preferred in most countries. Once you set mmgs here, just click OK. There we go. You can see down here, it is selected mmgs. Or else if you want to use IPS, you can just click here. And once you select it, here it changes from mmgs to IPS. So what you have to do is just click again and go back to mmgs, which we are going to be using today. That's how we basically set our dimensioning system. It's that simple. So once our dimensioning system is ready, we can go to the next step of starting or to do sketching. Now you have to make sure that you're on this command category sketch. Once you're on this command category sketch, you find so many options here. These are tools which we shall be using today to do this sketching. The first thing you have to do is to choose a default reference plane, which are provided under the design tree. Our design tree gives us several options, and we are going to be using these default reference planes, which are provided here. So if you want to do a 2D sketching, just click on one plane. Let's say you want to click, let's say front plane. And then there is this thing that pop up here, and you're given sketch option here, show, zoom to selection, and normal to. So what we are going to be doing today is 2D sketching, so we just have to choose a 2D sketch. Or else, you can come here on our command bar and choose this tool of sketch. This will help us navigate on our sketching mode on our canvas. So just click on sketching mode. It provides you with an origin and a plane where you can start doing your 2D sketching. So once this is done, we are ready to start our 2D sketching. So today we are going to be learning how to use different tools provided here on our command bar under the command category sketch. So the first tool provided to us is line tool. If you click this drop down menu, it will give you three options: line, center line, and midpoint line. So let me first explain how we can use these line tools. And then after that, I'm going to explain how we can use rectangular tools, circle tools, and ellipse, and arcs, and all those things. These one are basically referred to as sketch entities. So the first thing we are going to be learning today, how to use a line on SolidWorks. So just click on this drop-down menu and choose the first option, line. Or else you can click a shortcut available on your keyboard. You can just click Control-R, which will give you, you should activate this command of line. Once you have clicked on this command line, you see your cursor changes into a pencil. This shows you that your command is activated. So the first thing you have to do, you have to come and click on the origin. It is recommended that whenever you want to start your 2D sketching, you should start with the origin, because the origin is the only fixed point on our infinite canvas workspace. It's the only fixed and defined point. Whenever you do a 2D sketching without relating it or starting with the origin, it is not going to be fully defined. Now I'll be explaining about how we can define our sketches as we proceed the video. So just come here and click on the origin. Now as you click here, you see there's an option, a yellow box that appears down there, which shows you a relation. This relation is known as a coincidence. It is showing that we are going to give a relation where our origin and our sketch, they are going to coincide. So just click on that, then drag your mouse. It can be to the top, to the left, or to the right. Just drag it to the left, and make it in a slanting position to avoid confusion, and click on it. Now, whenever you're done that, you can either press Enter to escape this command or to deactivate this command, or right-click at the end of this line and then click this option, Select. That means our command has been selected, or our entity is already drawn on our workspace. So once you have done that, the next thing we are going to do is to define this sketch. Now there are two, three ways on which we can identify if our sketch have been defined. The three ways in which our sketch can be defined is, you can find your sketch is underdefined, another one is overdefined, or another one is fully defined. Now the right one should be fully defined sketch. And how do we know that? You can come and check on your bottom right corner. There's an option given here showing underdefined. Underdefined means your sketch is not fully defined, and you can navigate, or you can move it into any direction. You see, it's moving into any direction. You can stretch it, shorten it. It's not fully defined. So whenever you want to fully define it, you have to give it dimension and relation. First, how do we give relation? When we want to give relation on our sketches or on our entities, you just click on the entity, and then there's this small menu that appears here, and you can choose any of these relation. This means you want your line to be straight or to be horizontal. This means you want your line to be vertical. So for us, we want our line to be straight or to be in a horizontal position. Just click this horizontal option and relation, and our line is going to be in a horizontal position. Now you can see our line is shown to be fully defined, but also we have not given the dimension. So that means our line cannot move up or down, but it can move along the horizontal position. Still, even though it is showing black, which means your entity is fully defined, if you look at the bottom here, it shows you underdefined. Why is it undefined? Because we have not given it a dimension. And how do we give it dimension? Just come here on your sketch category and choose this command given here, smart dimension. Just click on it, and to give you this. Once you have clicked on it, then you can come here and drag your mouse and click on the line. Once you click on the line, you see the dimensions are popping up there. It depends on the dimension provided to you, or the dimension you want them to be on your model or your 3D model. So just have to click on it, or if you want dimension, you can come on your right side corner where there's rand properties, another design tree, and then you can put the dimensions here under the parameters. You can either put the dimensions here, or you can click here, click on it, then this option will pop up. Once you have popped up, you can delete the current dimensions, which are provided by Solidwork automatically, and put your own dimension for your entity to be considered to be fully defined. So you can give it a dimension like 80 millimeters. Now just click on this option, select option. Now see our part or our entity, our sketch is fully defined. How do we know that? You can just come back here on your bottom left side corner, and you can see it is written fully defined. That's how we can assign dimension on our 2D drawing, and even that's how we can decide that we can define and or put relation on our 2D sketching or entities. So after we have done that, that shows us that our line is fully defined. So we can draw something like this from the line. You can draw a square, triangle, anything, as long as it is straight. However, you can also draw a curve from a line, a command. How can we do that? Let's just select this line and then come and click on this end here, as you have seen me doing. Then drag your cursor on the upside, on the top side, and click on anywhere. Yeah, like that. If you want to delete your entity, just click on it, it will be selected. Then on your keyboard, you can just delete it like that. So that's basically how we can define or to be sketching or delete our entity. So I've subsidiary, you just click here, then drag your cursor to the top. It gives you a relation. A relation appears automatically provided to you by SolidWorks. They provide you with this relationship of vertical relation, or you can put in this direction. It gives you a horizontal and a coincident relation. Just give it a vertical relation and make it vertical, and just click again on it. And then you can just get out of this command of line by clicking on this line here, or you can just press escape like that on your keyboard. That you have disappeared. Still, it is undefined because you have not put the light dimension on this line that we have just drawn. Now we define it. Another way, another entity that you can draw from a line is a curve or an arc. How can we do that? Just come and click on line and draw a line from the endpoint of your previous line and click on it. Then drag your cursor. Then after you have dragged it, take it back to the end of where you have created your line. And then the entity is going to be converted from a line into an arc, into a curve, you see. Automatically it is converted. Now we are not going to talk much about it when we are talking about line, because it's not a line, it's a curve. So just have to escape or go back to the endpoint here, and it gives you a line option. Like that, you see. Then you can connect it to the origin, and then press your escape key on the keyboard. So how can we define this? We are going to learn how we can define this sketch here using all the relations, using what we have learned, the smart dimension and the relation. Come to the smart dimension and dimension this line, give it an angle. You can use a smart dimension to give an angle on your sketch. Let's give it an angle of 45 degrees. And let's give this line a dimension of 30 millimeter. That's it. Our sketch becomes fully defined because we have given all the dimension and we have given it a relation. We have given it a relation with the origin. Then we can get out of the sketch mode out of the smart dimension mode by clicking on this smart dimension or on the escape key. As simple as that. That's how we can use our line tool to do our sketching. And that's how we can fully define our sketch on SolidWork. It's very important for us to learn this, how to do our 2D sketching, because 2D sketching, they are the foundation of all the 3D model that we shall be drawing on SolidWork. So our next tool we are going to be learning is circle tool. I'm going to be talking how, no, let's not learn about circle, but let's learn about rectangle. We are going to be talking how we can draw a rectangle, how we can free dimension it, how we can, how we can add relationship on a rectangle, and types of rectangle provided to us. So if you want to delete a sketch that you have just drawn, just select on it and right click on your mouse. Then there's this option provided to you, delete option. Just press on it or click on it. It gives you yes, confirm sketch, confirm delete, yes to all. Just say yes to all, and everything will be deleted. That's basically how we can use our 2D sketching. They can use our line to do our 2D sketching. So let's come here to the rectangle tool provided to us and choose the first tool provided under the drop down of a rectangle. Now, as I've said earlier, it's very important for us to start from the origin when we are doing our 2D sketching. Just click on the origin, we form a coincidence relation, then drag our mouse either to the top or to the left or in direction, we are going to the top. Then click again on the workspace. To escape from this, just press the escape key on your keyboard. You have escaped from it. That's simply how we can draw a rectangle. So if you want to make it a square, you can add relation of equal. You can add an equal relation. But before that, let's first give it a dimension. Come on, click on smart dimension, then click on the line and give it a dimension. Let's say 50. And let's come on this side and give it a dimension of, let's say 70. No. Let's not give it a dimension if you want to make it a square. If you want to delete a dimension, just click on it and play this delete key. We want to make it a square. How can we do that? By adding an equal relation to the both sides of the square of the rectangle. It becomes a square. So just press your control key on your keyboard and then click on both line, bottom line, left side line, or right side line. And then come here and select this option of equal relation. Now we form a square, a perfect square. That's basically how we can make a square in SolidWork. All sides are equal. So let's see how we can use the rest of the rectangle tools provided to us here. You see this, a center rectangle. What does this tell us? It means that you are going to click 2 times to form this rectangle, but the first time you are going to do a center click. You're going to click at the center of the rectangle, and the other time you're going to click at the one of the corner of the rectangle. So if you want our rectangle to be at the top here, you just have to click. If you click somewhere here, you're going to start sketching from the center of that rectangle. You see? You're going to start from the center. Then whenever else we click is going to be at the corner. And that's how we can use our center rectangle to make a rectangle. Then come and click here, select right clicking. Let's give it a dimension using smart dimension to make it fully defined. Let's give it a dimension of 20 millimeter and give this one dimension of 15 millimeter. Get out of smart dimension. So I want you guys to realize that our sketch now, even though we have dimensioned all the size of this new rectangle that we have just drawn, our sketch is still underdefined. How do we know that? Because SolidWork is color coding our rectangle into a blue color. That shows that our rectangle is underdefined. And if our sketch or our entity is color coded into a black color, that tells us that our sketch is fully defined. How do you know all this is underdefined? You can come here on your right bottom corner and see it is underdefined. So how can we fully define it? The reason it is underdefined because there is no relation between this new rectangle and the origin. We can give it a relation by connecting this new rectangle with the previous rectangle. How can we do that? Just come and click on this bottom side of this rectangle after pressing Control on your keyboard, and then click on it, then click on the next side, any side of the previous rectangle. You want to combine them. Now there's a relation here given because, yeah, you can make them collinear. They got the right relation that you can give on our rectangles. It's called collinear relation. It makes them to be collinear with each other, but not coincident. They're collinear. It can move either on this side or on this direction, you see? But cannot go up or down. They are collinear. They can move, it can stick on the same direction of previous rectangle. That's basically how we can add relation. Still now, it is also underdefined. We can add another collinear relation by just clicking on this line, this side of our rectangle, and this one, and add the relation of collinear. Now our drawing becomes fully defined. So that's how we can make our underdefined sketch to be fully defined. If it is separated from the origin by connecting it with another part which is connected to the origin or which is fully defined. So if you want to, mirror this entity here, this rectangle that we have just drawn it, and draw it on the other side, like let's say this side, there's another option given here called a mirror option. So how do you do that? First, we have to draw a line of symmetry. Now, under the line tool, as I've said earlier, once you click on this drop-down menu, you can see there's another option here given center line. Center line tools can be used for several purposes. One of the purposes is to draw a line of symmetry. You can just come here and see this option, this box appearing here on the line shows that we are going to create a coincidence relationship. And then we can drag our mouse to the top and click anywhere on the top out of the rectangle. We call it line of symmetry, which we are going to be using it to mirror this new sketch that we have just drawn here on the other side of our larger square. So how can we do that? On our command bar, under the sketch command category, there's one option here provided called the mirror entities. Mirror entity command helps us mirror the entity that we have just drawn. So just come and click here, given under the property, this menu will appear here. Enter entities to mirror. First thing you have to select is the entities to mirror. You want to mirror this little triangle. Then mirror about. This should be like a mirror plane. It should be this symmetric line of symmetry. Once you have clicked on it, you can see our previous little rectangle have been mirrored on the other side. Just select OK. It have been mirrored. And you notice that it is fully defined. So we have learned another new thing here, how we can mirror our entities, how we can add our line of symmetry, how we can make an underdefined part to be fully defined, how we can use different lines, center line, a line command, and also how we can use two different types of triangles, corner rectangle and center rectangle rather. So the rest of the parts of the rectangle, you can do the same thing as we have used when we are designing a corner rectangle and a center rectangle. The only difference is the number of clicks that you have to make a complete rectangle. Like if you want to use this tool here, a 3-point corner rectangle. You have to click 3 points for it to create a full rectangle, Same here. There's not much difference between these two and these two when it comes to making them, to define them or to draw them. It's a parallelogram. The same applies to parallelogram. There's nothing much different. Let me just take one example here, like this 3-point center rectangle, and just give you a brief, tips on how you can use it. First option here you have to click is at the center of a rectangle, because of 3-point center rectangle. You click at the center, the first point. The next one will be at the one corner, and the other one will be at another corner. Now that's how you can do it. And then click or OK option. That's how you can use this 3-point corner center rectangle to draw a rectangle. The rest you can follow the same procedure and draw them and define them. If you want to define this, just connect it with the origin or with this entity you have drawn here and add the right relation, and you can get the fully defined sketch. How can we delete it? Just click on it and come with the delete option. You have deleted it. Or you can also press Control key, click on the both diagonal line and delete it. So you can delete these small dots here that appear in the center. Yeah. Now that's how we can basically use our rectangle tool and our line tool to do our 2D sketch drawing. Another sketch drawing that we have to learn is the circle sketch tool. How can you use a circle sketch tool? There's not much different. Now, as we have learned previously with the line and the rectangle tool, the rest become easy. The most difficult part and the most critical and essential part, which we should all understand, is when it comes to defining our 2D sketches. Our 2D sketches should be fully defined with the right relationship or relation applied. So just click on the circle option here after pressing this drop-down menu. Click on the circle option, then come on your workspace. Let's put it at the middle here for better understanding. You can put at the middle here, and you're going to add a relation of a circle with the symmetry line and make them coincidence. Then right click and press select. Then you can notice that our circle is in blue color. That shows that our circle is not fully defined. We have to fully define it by giving it the right dimension. Now you can define a circle by, assigning its diameter. You can just click on the circle after pressing the small dimension and click on it, then give you this option, and you can give it a dimension. Let's say that millimeters. Thus, you have given it a dimension. There's one more thing remaining. We have to give it a relation, the right relation for it to be fully defined. Because if it's not fully defined, it can move anywhere on this box, on this square that you have created area. But also remember there's an option provided here, a coincidence relation. How do we delete a relation? As I've said earlier, click on it, and then on your keyboard, press a key, delete key. So you see it can move anywhere inside the square. Now we have to add few relations if we want our circle to be fully defined. The first relation we can add is clicking on it and clicking at the midpoint of this line and making them vertical. Another relation we can add is by assigning the length of this or the distance of this circle from either of the side of the square. You can also assign it by pressing it or clicking the center of the circle and at one of the midpoint of one of the corner of the square. Like let's say here. And by pressing Control key, press the center of the circle and give it a horizontal relation, you see. Now our circle is placed at the center of the large square. That's how we can put or we can draw a circle at the center of a square and make it fully defined and also the relation on it. So that's basically how we can use our circle tool when we are using SolidWork and to make our 2D sketch. Now let's have another perimeter circle. Perimeter circle means you have to, make 3 clicks on your canvas to draw a full circle. And this click will come from all the 3 points where your perimeter of the circle that you want to do will be. It will not assign the center, but you can assign using 3 perimeters and draw a full circle. How can I do that? Let me just give you some tips here. You just click here like this, and then another click, and then another click. So you have to do 3 clicks for it to make a circle using this option for 3D or for perimeter circle. Now we don't need this one. You can just delete it by clicking on it and pressing delete key on your keyboard. Yeah, that's it. Another thing is remaining here. Let's see how we can use our arc tool provided under this sketch category. On our arc tool, once you press the drop-down menu, you can see there are several arcs provided. There are tangential arc, a center point arc, and a 3-point arc. Let's see how you can use them. The first you have to run is the center point arc. Now the center point arc, you have to make 3 clicks on your canvas or your workspace to make this point. The first click will be at the center. Let's say at the center of this circle that we have drawn previously. Another point will be at one of the perimeters of your circle. Another point will be at the other perimeter of your circle. You can put it right here and press escape key. That's how we can draw a 3-point center arc. Now we can assign a relation to make it fully defined, or we can also make this point instead of the circle and this point in a horizontal position. And then we can use a line tool, you see. Another line, there's one more line which is remaining here called the midpoint line. Midpoint line, you can use it by clicking at the center of a line or center where you want your line to start from. And your line will be extended on both directions, but you'll be moving your mouse, you see. Both directions, same length is being extended. So you just have to come and click it here and make it a relation horizontal. You see, SolidWork gives you an automatic relation when you are doing it to do sketching. So you have to be very careful. So just click and select option, you see. So, but we have to fully define this one because it is undefined. As you can see, it is in blue color. How can you fully define it? By giving it in the light dimension. You can make it the radius to be 10. Now our arc is fully defined. Now there's another option I want to show you guys called a trimming tool option. How can we trim our sketch, or how can we remove unwanted sketch which are in between other sketches or other entities and we don't want to interfere with them? And you all notice that you cannot delete it. If you want to remove like this small part here, this part from this point to this point of the arc, if you want to remove it, you cannot delete it, because once you delete it, they're going to delete the whole line entity. The best thing to do is that SolidWorks have provided us with a sketch with a trim entity provided here. Under the trim entity, there are several trimming commands you can choose, you can use. We are going to be using a power trim, which shows that you can just put your mouse at any point on the canvas and drag it like this. Let's say you want to trim this 2 parts. Just click at the middle of the circle, then drag your mouse toward the line that you want them to be trimmed, like that. Our unwanted entities have been trimmed. And that's basically how we can trim any necessary sketch or entity that we have drawn on our 2D sketches. So yeah, a brief reminder, friends, if it's your first time to come to my YouTube channel, Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and like my videos, comment, and don't forget to strike that notification bell to get notified every time I put on a video. Okay, let's continue. We are still on under the arc tool under the sketch command categories. Another thing you have to do is use this, learn how to use this tangent arc. Tangent arc, that means there's a previous line which have been drawn and you want to draw a tangent this arc. How do you draw a tangent? A tangent will already be drawn, and then from that tangent we can draw an arc, and this arc will be tangential to this to that line which have been drawn. Let's say this line here. Let's choose this line. If we click here, this line will be tangential with the arc that we are going to be drawing. As you can see, this line is tangential to this arc that we are drawing. You can come and click here also then and press select. It becomes full dimension automatically. But notice that down here it shows underdefined. Underdefined, that means you have to put toward the dimension by clicking on smart dimension and click here. You can just click on the arc that you have just drawn like this and give it a dimension. Wow, wow, wow. And something terrible have occurred here. You see, it is telling us that our sketch will be over-defined if we add another dimension on this sketch that we have drawn earlier, which is our sketch. So these yellow colors that appear on your sketch, it means that your sketch is over-defined, and you have to delete some relation, or you have to delete some dimension which you have previously put on your sketch. So let's just press OK. Now you can make it fully defined since it is undefined. And how can we make it fully defined? By giving the right dimension. That dimension can be given when we come here and click on the smart dimension. And first of all, we have to make the previous sketch be fully defined. That means you have to give the right relation. That's why you can see there's still a blue point here showing the sketch is underdefined. We can give it a relation by clicking on the control key, then places it on this point and on the circle and making them coincident. We coincide them and our sketch becomes fully defined. So that's basically how we can use our tangential arc tool on our 2D sketching. So how can we use a 3-point arc, which is basically very important to learn how to use it in Solidwork when you're doing a 2D sketching, because most of the time you'll be using it. Just click on the 3-point arc, click on one point, then click on the end of that where you won't see that arc. Then click on another point on the perimeter of the arc. That click, then select. It have been drawn. That means also the center of this arc have been assigned as a coincidence automatically by Solidwork, a coincidence to this center of this line. So again, we can use our trimming tool. Another trimming tool, we have learned that there are several trimming tools. We can just come on trimming tool and trim to process. Another trimming tool. Let me show you how we can use this one. Just select on it, and then it's going to trim the part of the entity that you are going to choose between 2 points. Just click on it, you see, it have trimmed the line. That's how we can basically trim and define and dimension and do our 2D sketching on Solidwork. There's another one more tool that I would like to teach you guys, which is the ellipse. How we can draw our ellipse and how we can fully define an ellipse. For us to do that, I would like first of all to delete this work you have just done now and go back and do our ellipse drawing. For us to save our work, Or because you don't need this work just for practice, we can just delete it by selecting on it like that and press the delete key on the keyboard like that. So our work have been deleted. The reason why I've deleted because I want to teach also, I want to show you how we can use our ellipse tool here. Our ellipse, there are several sub-category of tools under the ellipse provided. Ellipse, partial ellipse, parabola, and conic. You can draw all these entities using under the ellipse tools. Just click on the ellipse, come on the midpoint, and click there, then drag your mouse. You have to make 3 clicks, remember? And ellipse have major axis and minor axis. First of all, we are going to draw major axis. Like this, you can see, once we click here, we are going to make this line to be horizontal. We are going to add horizontal relation as it's shown here by the relation command, small box there. Just click there and then drag it on top to make the our minor axis and click on the select command. That's how we can make an ellipse when we are doing our 2D sketching, an ellipse. So how can we predefine it? As you can see, it is undefined. Just come on the smart dimension, and for us to fully define our ellipse, we have to define the length of both the major axis and minor axis. First of all, our minor axis, we want to make it to be 30 millimeter. That means from here to here is 30, and from this point to this point is 60. How can we define our major axis? By clicking on the one of the corner of the major axis and it's in the midpoint, and you can give it a dimension is 70. Again, I've said, you can see this side will be 30 and this side will be 70. So how can we make it fully defined? Because you can see an ellipse, it can move on either direction. You see, it can rotate, it is not fully defined. If it cannot rotate, that means it is fully defined. And if it is in black color, that means it is fully defined. How we can make it fully defined is by adding a relation. Just click at the midpoint by pressing a control key in one end of the corner of the ellipse and make them horizontal. Just by adding one relation, our ellipse becomes fully defined. So that's basically how we can draw our ellipse when we are doing our 2D sketching. That's basically how we can define an ellipse. That's all about ellipse drawing. You can apply the rest when you want to draw your partial ellipse, parabola, and conic. You can apply the same technique we have applied here when you're drawing an ellipse. So friends, one more tool I would like to teach you is how to use a fillet tool and a chamfer sketch tool. Let me just draw a center rectangle here, in the middle of this ellipse. And let's define some dimension. Let's say 80, and let's say 100 millimeter. So how can we use a fillet or sketch chamfer tool? First, let's chamfer. Chamfer means we are going to cut the corners. We are going to cut the corners using 2 lines. If you click at the corner here, you see it has been cut. And we can change also this length or this dimension by coming here. This is a custom. Most of the default dimension is 10 millimeter in Solidwork. So you can change it into 5 millimeter. And then you can come to so how can we sketch chamfer? You can chamfer like this. We have assigned a dimension to be 5 millimeter of a sketch and select, you see it have been assigned 5mm. Just you can jump on both sides. Let's see that side. First of all, you have to click select, then again come back again and chamfer. Want to chamfer this. You don't want to put the fillet. So you have chamfered also this side. 5mm by 5mm. Wow. So that's it. How can we fillet? How can we put the fillet on our 2D sketches? Our fillet is basically like a semicircle. So we can give it a length of maybe 5mm and choose the corner that we want to fillet. And click OK. You can see our corners have been filleted with dimension assigned or shown there. So our 2D sketch is predefined. So guys, that's how we can basically do our 2D sketching in SolidWork. And those are the main tools that you can use when you are doing a 2D sketching in order to make a 3D model. Next time I'm going to be explaining about the other tools available on our sketching command category. These tools like trim, convert entities, offset, how we can offset linear, sketch pattern, move entities, then the less command like polygon and slot, trace slots as command, as a tool, and how we can use this as print tool. Don't miss my next video, guys. They're gonna be very interesting because these tools here, they're very important when it comes to 2D sketching and even 3D sketching, 3D modeling. So that's it for today's video. So we are going to be stopping here for today. See you again in the next video, and I hope you liked my video. And guys, please consider subscribing to my channel, like my videos, and comment below. And also don't forget to strike that notification bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. So see you guys next time. God bless you. Thank you.